To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Lockhart perspective.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Lockhart Perspective. We are going to have a commentary, as we always do here on this channel. Today, we're looking at a question. Did Joy Reid behave badly when she conducted the Moms of Liberty interview? Now, you know Buddy. Everybody who follows me knows Buddy. So he's roaming around. You hear his little chain. So it's all good. But we are going to look at her interview in depth. We're going to break it down. We're going to look at the conduct. We're going to look at some of the stats that she read. We're also going to look at some of the things that Moms of Liberty does and what they don't do. We're going to look at their about page. We're going to find out some information. I also wanted to, let me see, can we go on ahead and bring headlines with a voiceover? Let's see if we can do that. Maybe invite them over, save the changes. Hopefully both of them will show up here. Yep. Okay. So now we're live on Headlines with a Voice, as well as the Lockhart Perspective. Again, this is our commentary today, specifically dealing with the question, did Joy Reid behave badly as an interviewer? First of all, let's take a look at what Moms for Liberty does. Okay. And by their own page is what we're going to do. We're going to add this to the screen, and I'm going to read to you what it states. Who we are. We are moms, dads, grads, aunts, uncles, and friends. Moms for Liberty welcomes all that have a desire to stand up for parental rights at all levels of government. Our founders are Tiffany and Tina, moms on a mission to stoke the fires of liberty. As former school board members, they witness how short-sighted and destructive policies directly hurt children and families. Now, they are using their firsthand knowledge and experience to unite parents who are ready to fight those that stand in the way of liberty. Their mission, Moms for Liberty, is dedicated to fighting for the survival of America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend their parental rights at all levels of government. Their vision, Americans empowered and thriving in a culture of liberty. Our values, as joyful warriors, we stand for truth, we build relationships, and we empower others. Now, here's how they fight. They hold leaders accountable. We hold decision makers accountable, or we work to replace them with liberty-minded individuals. Spread awareness. Widespread awareness and an understanding of the limited role of government. Oppose government overreach. We stand together against government power, overreach, and intimidation tactics. They promote liberty by teaching the principle of liberty in our homes and our community. Engage on key issues. We engage our communities and elected leaders on key issues impacting our families. And then it goes on to say, activate to public service. We activate liberty-minded leaders to serve in elected positions. Now, here is what I'm not going to do today. I don't want anybody to believe that, okay, well, she's talking about this. This means that she must agree with everything the organization does. That's not what I'm saying. But I do believe that parents do have the right to promote and to make sure that their children are getting the best education that they can. I do believe that that's what it means to be a parent. I believe that it's important for us to stand up for our children, to be the best advocate, and to be the advocate, period, that they need us to be. The first thing that I want to define um, is the word liberty. That's what I want to do. I want to use Cambridge Dictionary because I think a lot of times when people hear the word liberty, they think, oh, that must be somebody who's conservative. Let that break down. It doesn't mean you are a Republican, doesn't mean you are a Democrat. It just believes you're a person that believes that you are a free and autonomous individual that does not need to be guided by anybody else. It means that you should be able to make your own decisions for yourself, no matter what those decisions are. You are at liberty to do that. So let's throw out the idea that anytime you see the word liberty or anytime you see the word conservative, that it means Republican or Democrat. I am neither. I do not vote. Okay. I am neither. I am not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'll rip a Republican a new one just as quick as I'll rip a Democrat a new one. It does not matter here. I'm an I'm an equal opportunity ripper. So I'm saying that because I want everybody to understand that when you come here, I don't have like I say all the time, I don't have a dog in the hunt, but in tandem with not having a dog in the hunt, I'm not going to let people slide when they behave badly. So let's go on ahead now that we have gotten that out of the way. I do want to bring up an article that I have here, and it's for The Hill, and it's just basically it's from The Hill, and what it's doing is it's just going to give us an overview of what others thought of that interview that day. And I think it's important to note that when you get a hold of the video that we're about to look at, and we're going to look at and we're going to dissect all of it, the entire video. We're going to dissect it together, baby, because if we don't dissect this, then we're wrong. All right. So let me go on ahead and just read the article to you. I'm going to share the entire screen this time so that you have it all for yourself. Let me give you the entire screen. There you go. It looks like it removed it. There we go. Ironically, you guys, we are hardwired and we've had the whole entire computer checked. We've taken off things. We've updated stuff. We've done a lot of things. And ironically, we have very low, I have a low signal for my computer. I don't know why, because I'm hardwired. Okay. Anyway, let's get into this without any further delay. It says, quote, give Joy Reid credit for having Tiffany Justice on her show this week. Justice, the co-founder of Moms for Liberty, came on to discuss her group's activism. Among other things, Justice's group seeks to remove sexually explicit, pornographic, and politically incendiary materials from elementary school libraries. Reid, as it turns out, finds this repugnant. She was ready to pounce on Justice as an advocate for book bans. Now, I want you guys to hold that word in your mind, that phrase, book bans, and to hit her with a list of opposition research talking points about the group and some of its members and leaders. But in the end, Reid got a lot more than she bargained for. Let's just say, the author says, that I seriously doubt she'll have another guest like Justice on her show anytime soon. Home Turf gave Reid what she thought would be the upper hand in talking about, quote, banning books. Keep that phrase in your mind. Justice began by pointing out correctly that nothing was being banned. One can still go to any bookstore or Amazon or even a public library and find all of these books, perhaps even in a misleading labeled banned books display. I'm going to let Buddy out, you guys. Hold on a second. Hey, baby, let's go out. Come on, baby. You want to go out? Let's go out. Don't cry, you sweet love. Come on, you little love bud. All right. Now that we got that little love bug out, he was sitting here talking about me. He heard somebody in the house and he wanted to go and visit and check them out. I don't blame him. It's all about the visiting. All right. So it says, no, what we're talking about here is keeping out of school libraries where only children get books. Books that are obviously inappropriate for children. During this segment with Justice, Reid talked about one book, All Boys Aren't Blue, accusing Moms of Liberty of taking quotes out of context, then demanding the school board remove it. Justice's response turned the entire interview on its head. I am not going to read this. I am going to let you hear it. And I also want you to see it. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and hopefully that you guys can see this, because I'm not using these incendiary words here. I don't have time to be getting messed up with these people. Here, you see that on screen. And hello to everybody. Zeb, Vine Dressers, Branch, Jean Blair. As you guys read this, I'm going to love on them. As they read it, I'm loving on them. You useless knowledge. William H., how are you? It's good to see you. Yeah, I don't vote anymore. Derek C. Williams, I love you, baby. It's good to see you. Yeah, I don't vote anymore, and I'm not voting, and I'm not standing on any other side, because I keep telling everybody in my family that it's two sides of the exact same coin. You got one coin. If you flip it and it goes to heads, you may as well keep it on the other side and hit it on, and hit it on tails, because it's all the same. And for me, whenever I see that, it just tells me that it don't matter which way I go, it's all going to be the same. It's all going to be the same. So now to get into my commentary, now that you guys, everybody has had the opportunity to read this, I need to change the screen. So if you've read this already, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. And remember that this was the justice's response to the question about context. Joy Reid stated that Mrs. Justice took this out of context, okay, in the book that they were referencing. Thank you, Generation Enoch. Ooh, the Generation Enoch, that's a powerful name. So, so just remember that. All right, folks, let's get into this, because this video is about, it's a good amount of time. It'll take us a little bit to go through it. We are, of course, going to have to stop, because this video is used specifically for commentary purposes, which is allowed by copyright law. In no way, shape, or form are we attempting to utilize this information as if it is our own here at the Lockhart Perspective, or Headlines with a Voice, or the Felicia Lockhart Group LLC. We are not using this information as if it is our own, and we are only using it for commentary purposes. This video comes from the Minds of Liberty YouTube channel, and it is available right here on YouTube. Again, we in no wise are attempting to use this as if it was ours. I hope that I said that enough, so I don't have to deal with no getting flashed at the end of this. And I don't mean flashed in a nice way. Anyway, let me go ahead. That was actually quite funny, I think. All right, so anyway, here we are. I'm going to go ahead and punch the video up, and hopefully you guys can still see it. Here we go. She's Pete's. She's Pete's. You know, the words that they use to sort of say that people are fascists and they're this and that, they have no clue what they're saying unless they're hired. Okay, here we are, folks.
At the heart of America's culture war lies education, and it's a fight that has intensified in recent years, alongside Florida's Don't Say Gay bill, anti-trans laws, and campaigns, particularly in Florida, to erase Black history. But the single most explosive trend in the education culture war is about books, and who exactly gets to remove them or challenge them, who gets to decide what we have access to, what can be taught, and what can be read. Attempts to ban books have reached a record high, and titles with LGBTQ themes remain top targets. Books about African-American history, too, with stories about the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and Ruby Bridges removed from shelves. Parents, educators, and students are taking sides. And at the center of this fiery debate is Moms for Liberty, a group founded in 2021 that campaigns for book removals in U.S. public schools. And joining me now is Tiffany Justice, co-founder of Moms for Liberty. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here with you, Joy.
Great to meet you. So I want to play a clip. And this,
mind you, again, you guys, as commentary, I have to step in. Mind you, this will be the last time, in my opinion, that Joy was polite to this guest, okay? Because that speaks volumes, but nonetheless, let's go on ahead.
This is an interview that you gave to Steve Bannon's War Room in 2022, March of 2022. Take a listen.
Sure.
Walk us through exactly what you're trying to accomplish. And this definition, it's a new concept. I want to make sure we have the nomenclature. What are parental rights?
Parental rights are rights that every parent has, and the government does not give them to you, and they cannot take them away. Every parent has the fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children, their medical care. That includes mental health, by the way, their education, and their values education, their morals, their religious and character training. All of these things lie within the responsibility of the parent.
Now, I want to just make sure, do you still stand by those statements?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So then I guess the question becomes, which parents, right? Do African-American parents have parental rights?
Yeah, it's a God-given right to direct the upbringing of your children.
Do the LGBTQ parents and parents of LGBTQ kids, do they have parental rights?
Every parent, Joy. Every parent means every parent has the fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children.
And liberal parents, do liberal parents have those rights as well?
All parents, sure.
So let me point you to some statistics, because the question becomes then who gets to decide what all kids get to read. The Washington Post took a look at about 1,000 plus book challenges that were filed, and they found that they were filed nationwide by just 11 people. Each of these people brought 10 or more challenges against books in their school district. Together, these serial filers constituted 6% of all book challengers, but they were responsible for 60% of filings. In Florida, Tampa Bay Times, they found that of roughly 1,100 complaints recorded in Florida since July 2022, we're talking about more than 700 just from two counties, Escambia in the Western Panhandle and Clay County. Together, those are less than 3% of the public school enrollment, 600 of those complaints, 2 people. Why should 13 people get to decide what books tens of thousands of children get to read?
Well, I'm thinking it's probably because those 13 people saw what some of the content was in the books. I mean, explicit, graphic, sexual content.
Okay, I'm going to stop right here and let you guys know that if any of these words are about to offend you, they're going to be a repeat of what we already saw on the screen. Now, with that said, do you notice how she kept punching and punching at her? Does this person get to do it? Does that person get to do it? She continued to say all. So I don't know how much you can leave out of all, but it appeared to me that she was being pretty clear. Let's go on ahead and finish.
And I'm happy to talk about some of that content if you'd like to.
Well, this is the question again. The books that are being banned, I want to give you just
No books are being banned.
Hold on a second.
Well, no, Joy, but I want to be clear. No one's banning books. Write the book, print the book, publish the book, put the book in the public library, sell the book, right? We're talking about a public school library. Children don't have unfettered access to the internet at school. I did a FOIA records request, and I wanted to see what kinds of internet sites are banned in schools, if we're going to talk about banning, right? And the subject matter in the books that moms are concerned about are the same things that kids don't have access to on the internet. So it just feels very hypocritical, right? No, why is no one out there protesting for, free the internet in schools?
Let me give you an example of some of the books that
Okay, hold on.
have been removed from shelves as a result.
So she did not recant saying banned. Okay, and it's very important to note that because she's going to go back and visit that term again, ban, throughout this interview. Now, this young lady, Mrs. Justice, was very clear in her definition of what it was that they were doing. They were taking a look at books that had images and that had information that children have. Listen, when you watch a movie, you see a little sticker on there. You see a movie sticker that says, it's rated this, rated this, rated that. That gives the parents the opportunity to know, hey, wait a minute, this movie is inappropriate for children at this age. And even some of those that are PG or even G, you still have to monitor. However, sticking to the fact that there are some things that children can do and children should not watch and should watch, that is the main focus I'm gleaning from what she's saying. And by she, I mean Mrs. Justice. I'm thinking that's what she means. She's saying purely, we're not trying to ban anything. We're just making sure that what the standard is for children is followed through with as it relates to the public library in public school, not your public library on the street, but the public school's library. Why? Most of our kids can't even read, let alone have to go in and decipher all of that stuff that you may hear here in just a second. But I wanted to make sure that you noted the fact that Joy keeps pushing the word banning books. Okay?
Result of the activities of organizations like Moms for Liberty.
We're not going to talk like Moms for Liberty. We're going to talk specifically
And
Let's go back.
As a result of the activities of organizations like Moms for Liberty.
We're not going to talk like Moms for Liberty. We're going to talk testing for, free the internet in schools.
Let me give you an example of some of the books that have been removed from shelves as a result of the activities of organizations like Moms for Liberty.
We're not going to talk like Moms for Liberty. We're going to talk specifically Moms for Liberty.
Absolutely.
So I'm happy to have this conversation with you, Joy.
Absolutely.
But we're going to be specific about the actions of Moms for Liberty.
Oh, 100%.
Because I can't be possibly responsible for every single parent in
But
America,
your organization is the lead. You're the leading organization that's doing this. You have chapters all over the country, and other organizations are following your lead. And PEN America has listed, they have posted the list of books that have been removed from shelves as a result of these activities. Let me just read you a couple of them. Anne Frank's A Diary of a Young Girl. Mouse, which is a book about the Holocaust, a graphic novel. Genderqueer, a memoir. All Boys Aren't Blue. Beloved, Martin Luther King Jr. and the March on Washington. Ruby Bridges Goes to School. Slaughterhouse-Five, The Color Purple, Forever by Judy Blume. I could go on. These are books that are not only popular, in some cases are classics. Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. Let me give you an example.
Well, I'd like to answer your question.
Please do. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just mentioned a list of books. And so Moms for Liberty doesn't have like a national book list. There was never a list of books that we put out and said, parents, be concerned about these books, right? We didn't do it because we want our parents to be effective advocates. So when moms are going into the libraries and the schools, when they're seeing what their children have access to, when they go to speak to the superintendent or the principal, they have accurate information, right? They're
and where are
effective
they getting
advocates.
their information from?
You can just go online to a catalog in your children's library and you can see what
without reading the books. What is
Okay, so do you see how ignorant she is? And I have to put, I'm going to be just, I got to put it down here. She is ignorant to exactly what it is this lady does. Please understand, I'm not using the word ignorant in the slang term. No, I mean literally, she's ignorant as to what this organization does and what this organization does not do. Right? That's exactly right. And this is, again, my commentary and my opinion. I am giving you my perspective on what it is that she did in this interview. It appears to me that she was not prepared for this interview. And I'm going to tell you that even though she has all of those papers sitting on the front desk there, she didn't pull that information herself. She didn't even look at the guest and look in the guest's background and find out anything about this guest prior to this woman being here. I feel like Joy was on the attack from the very beginning. And I believe that it is an attack that she was on because of what she thought this woman was, or what she thought this woman represented. And as an interviewer myself, I shake my head because I understand what it is to go in and literally go and do your own research. I had Dr. Cynthia McKinney on here twice. Do you think that the first time and the second time was different? It wasn't. What I studied about her on the first time, I gleaned from what I could find. And then the second time I gleaned again. Why? Because there had been a large lapse of time. Maybe she could have done another book. Perhaps there was more information about her. The same thing with Judge Joe Brown. When I have him on, I make sure that I'm up to date on what it is that they've got going on, what it is, where they're going to be speaking next. I make myself aware of that. I don't ask their people to send me that stuff. I do that on my own. So by my own interviewing habits, I'm going to tell you, Joy did not do any homework, because if she did, she would not be asking the incendiary questions and the ignorant questions that she's asking and the statements that she's making along with those questions that she's asking. Let's continue to take a look.
No, look, one moment. What is booklooks.com?
I'm aware of a website called booklooks.com where parents can go and see some of the books that other parents are concerned about.
Booklooks.com has been used in Florida extensively in counties like, I used to live in Broward County. I lived there for 14 years.
Okay.
In counties like Broward, counties like Clay, counties like Escambia, Moms for Liberty activists are using booklooks.com. And it's essentially a cliff notes for books.
Yeah.
So you go through without even having to read the book. I'm going to just hold it up so our audience can see what it looks like. This is the one for All Boys Aren't Blue, which is one of the books Moms for Liberty has pushed
Everyone
to have
should go and see the content in this book. That's such a good idea.
And so what
Joy.
happens is you can do keyword searches and find certain keywords.
Like rape,
You can find sure.
or anal rape, or
you can-
dildo.
You can find
those,
all sorts
those types
of keywords.
of words. But like,
Wait,
so
hold on,
the-
wait. Let me finish my question.
Okay, so now that was her comment specifically about the book that she is holding up in her hand. Now, as a mother, an auntie, a grandparent, a niece, any of that, why is it not okay for her to just stop and agree with agree with Mrs. Justice and say, you know what, you're absolutely right. I didn't know that those words were in there. And as a mom or whatever, I don't think I would want my child to have access with that type of information without my knowledge. Why didn't she just agree with her quote unquote adversary quickly? Why does she have to continue? This chick went from having her trousers all the way up here to down to her ankles by the time she got caught with her pants down on this one. She went from having her trousers up to her waist all the way down below them ankles by the time this interview is done. Okay? Because she is, let me shut up. Let me go. Come on.
okay,
Then
great,
you can answer.
sure.
I'm going to give you time to answer, but I got to ask you first.
No, yeah, I got the question.
And so what you find is the keywords that you find, the
Uh-huh.
N-word,
Lots of
keywords.
words. But like,
Wait,
so
hold on,
the-
wait. Let me finish my question.
Okay,
Then
great,
you can answer.
sure.
I'm going to give you time to answer, but I got to ask you first.
No, yeah, I got the question.
And so what you find is the keywords that you find, the
Uh-huh.
N-word, anything, words like you just used, then you'll get out of context passages from the book. And then based on that, Moms for Liberty members are going to places like Broward County
Mhm.
school board meetings, reading out of context passages from these books, and then demanding that the school board remove them.
So what's
That is the way.
Yeah.
The question I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read? What is your
What a
expertise?
tragic story of a young man who's anally raped by his adult family member. So you have incest, rape, pedophilia. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so
Sure.
I'm going to answer
Please
for
do.
you.
Okay, let's stop right there. Do you see what I'm saying? Because what dodo bird, what absolute imbecile with that particular passage in the book would advocate for people keeping that book in a school? I'll hold. Anybody? She is totally off here. And I believe that this is what they want. They want us to appear as ignorant as they possibly can. And I want you to be just as dumb as you are. Just get out there and stand up for everybody. And by standing up for everybody, you're going to make yourself look like a complete imbecile, because their idea of standing up for everybody is not standing for anyone. And for you to have that kind of book inside of your school with what Mrs. Justice is about to say is absolutely asinine. You got to be out of your mind to think that's okay to have a child having that at their fingertips to read. Now, you have a lot of TV shows that come on right now, and a lot of those shows, you think you're sitting down watching something okay, but if you're not sitting in there with your child, the next thing you know, they're going to be doing something like, what is that? What did that happen? And who are they? And why are they? They're going to be a bevy of questions. Listen to Joy and listen to Mrs. Justice. Go on.
In what context is a strap-on dildo acceptable for public school? That's my question to you. Tell me,
Look at her
what the
face.
context around.
She didn't know that was even in there. Do you see Joy's face? I'm going to go back. Joy did not even know that was in the book. And that's how I know this chick didn't do no homework. If she was going to talk about that book specifically, that looked like somebody as an intern printed that sheet of paper out for her and highlighted the fact that it was X, Y, or Z, she should have at least taken her opportunity to do nothing but go in, maybe read the inside of the book, read the back, go in there and now read part of chapter 1, skip over to chapter 5, skip over to chapter 6. Do something. Do something. She could have stopped and just read the book. Certainly she could have, but she didn't. And that's the reason. And now she's sitting up and looking extra stupid, blinking her eyes, looking like Lucy. Blinking her eyes, looking just like Lucille Ball. Look at her. And I'm gonna tell you something else that we talked about the other day, and that is the fact that a lot of these people who look that color of joy, they're not even from here. She may have been born in New York, but her daddy is from the Republic of Congo. Mama is from Guyana. Now in Guyana, that particular lifestyle is not even legal to a certain degree. In Congo, it is. What is my point? My point is you got somebody from someplace else coming over here working because she was born here. But the value is get that money. Get that money. America's coming close to different countries like Congo and different parts of Africa as well. Okay, the continent. All right. It's getting really close to that. Probably exceeds them as it relates to saying whatever they want you to say for a little bit of dollar bill, y'all. Okay. So when you consider the fact that, yeah, she got that color skin, but she's easily purchased. Easily purchased. I think what I'm going to do is just go down the list. I said the other day that I was going to talk about certain people and their heritage because it's important to note what their heritage is and how their heritage and how their mouths speak for every other person that may have more melanin than most in their skin here in the United States. And I am very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about it because this is what we're dealing with. People look at this and think that's how we are. That ain't how we are. Ain't none of us that way. Unless something wrong. I'm not going to say none because I know a few. Obviously she is, but that's not how we were raised as a whole. There have been the fringe. There's always going to be the fringe. And I shouldn't even say the fringe. Well, I didn't say tassels. I said fringe. Nonetheless, the fringe. Okay, there's always going to be the fringe that, that's maybe that 3%, that 10% or whatever. As a matter of fact, it's the less of the percentage of the preponderance or the populace of the United States that's running things. Did you know that? Say, for example, you got 97% of us that say, no, we don't want our kids having access to that. No, we don't want that. You got the other 3 that's making the loudest noise, and they're the ones that's actually guiding the ship. They're holding the rudder. They're doing their thing. They're at the helm. While we just sit back and say, something don't feel right about this. Well, now it's too late because you see. Let's go ahead.
Strap-on dildo or the rape of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No,
wait,
we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me questions.
Sure.
So I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
Well, who is the main character? What's the name of the main character?
Who cares what the name of the main character is, you dum-dum? No one cares what the name of the main character is. Do you know the name of the main character? She's literally asking her, tell me who this is. Like she did about the company that does the books, the website. That's not her website. That is not Mrs. Justice or any affiliation with her group's website. She said, tell me who that is. Now she's saying, well, now tell me who the character is. Who cares? Do you know who the character? Oh, let's go.
Character in All Boys Are Blue.
You're asking me right now.
You just
to
gave
name-
me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Hold on.
The main,
Who's the main character in the book?
the main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe, is his first name.
Because you're giving me very specific information that is.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You
the
just
name of the
remembered
author
very
doesn't
specific things.
joy.
Here's my
We're
question.
talking about
Here's my
strap. You
question.
didn't answer my question.
No. I'm going to answer. Your
Great.
question.
I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm interviewing you, and you're not interviewing me. So
Very
let's just make
poorly,
sure it's
I
a
might add.
conversation.
Okay, great.
So what I'm saying to you is that as you are not an expert in this book,
I don't
or
have to
hold
be
on.
an expert to know
hold
that
on a second.
dildos aren't
One
appropriate
moment,
for public
one moment.
school. I mean, come
This
on, let's
book
get real.
is a full context story, as you said, of the author's experience. Why is it your right or a Moms for Liberty activist's right to say that a parent who wants their child to have access to this book, which gives a personal experience of this author, why doesn't a liberal parent, for instance, or a parent of an LGBTQ kid, why don't they have a right for their child to just have access to this book? Why is it your right to say they can't?
So again, we're talking about incest, rape, and pedophilia.
And
Joy, you
each
said you
parent,
answered. Joy, you said you let me answer.
no. Each parent has to decide what is appropriate for their child to read. So I want you to answer. I'm going to ask you
let's
one more
have
time.
Right.
What is your right to tell a parent who wants their child, who might feel seen by this story? Why
Oh
don't
my
they
gosh.
have the right? Why don't they have the right?
Listen to Mrs. Justice's response to this, because this woman has now painted herself into a corner. Listen to Mrs. Justice's response to why don't they have the right? Because the child may feel seen by this. They may attach themselves to it. They may feel that it's relevant to them. Listen to Mrs. Justice.
As a parent, to say, my child can have access to this book.
If a child feels seen by this story, that means that they have been the victim of a predator. That means that they have either been raped by a family member, they've experienced
and your proof of that is what?
You just said that
What's
if
your
a child
proof of
feels
that?
seen by this story. What I'm saying, Joy,
you're now making assumptions
No,
about it.
Joy.
This lady, to me, it appears that Joy continues to condemn herself by her own words. She condemns herself by her own words, and it's like she's not even attached or not even a part of the conversation. It's like in her brain, she's hearing something with her ears, but in her brain, she's fashioning something else. And then her mouth just speaks a totally opposite of both of them.
No,
But if a child has been raped, we should do a lot better than put a book on a
Now
library
you're literally
shelf.
creating
We
a
need to
story
give-
behind a child that you don't know. Let me show you a form.
But if this is the man's interpretation of his life, if this is the man's rendition in this particular book, and this is what he experienced in this particular book, then why is it not appropriate for Mrs. Justice to quote that particular portion of the book? She's saying if a child feels seen, then this is a definite indication that X, Y, and Z has happened to this child. Or they can identify with one of these things that have happened. Either way it goes, it's not a good thing, Joy. So then she goes, well, you're just making up, or you're just talking about something. This lady is amazing. Let's keep going. And she makes $1.5 million per annum, by the way. Her net worth is between $1.5 and $20 million per annum. And I believe that the wide ranges maybe because of something else that she's got going on, maybe speaking events or something. But the information that I was able to find about Joy Reid is at least 1.5 million. Maybe that's her salary specifically from MSNBC. But I don't understand why MSNBC would not take a hard look at this woman and just say, well, you know what? Yeah, we do want that opinion. We do want somebody who's, more opinionated than most, but we at least want them to be sharp, or we at least want them to have been, learned, or at least have done their homework. Shame on MSNBC for not holding the point of accountability to a high regard as it relates to journalism. How dare you insult those people who have gone to journalism school, or those who are in the field who do more study than she does? How dare you allow that to represent people, and especially your brand? You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. Again, this is my perspective. This is my commentary, and this is my take on what it is that I'm looking at right now. Let's go.
This is a form that can be obtained in Broward County, Florida.
Okay.
I'm going to show it to the audience, and then I'm going to show it to you. This is called
Can
the
I see
opt.
it for a
Yeah,
second?
please. I'm going to
Okay,
hand it to
thank
you.
you so much.
It's called the opt-out form.
Okay.
An opt-out form would allow any parent, because you said you are in favor of parental rights.
I am.
It would allow any parent to opt out of their child being able to take books out of the library without their parents' permission.
Okay.
So that Moms for Liberty, why not advocate that every school in America have an opt-out form, so that a parent who doesn't want
Most
their child
do.
to access a book like All Boys Aren't Blue,
Right.
that they can make that choice? Because then each parent, including a liberal parent, a Black parent, a parent who wants their child to read a book about African-American history, then
We
they
want,
get their
we want
rights.
children to read books.
Why
about
not just
African-American
opt
history,
out
so.
for yourself rather?
Isn't it amazing how everything becomes about race? And isn't it amazing how everything becomes about a selection of choice? Isn't it amazing when that's just like saying, does everybody have to stop at the red light? Does everybody? I mean, did you say that the purple people have to stop at the red light? I didn't see you define purple people. So you making an assumption for everybody. The people who purple, they got to stop too. Who told you? You get to make that decision. Do you see how they break it all down and make it nice and confusing and stupid? It's the same thing where you hear people continue with our democracy, our democracy, our democracy. We are a republic. Look at that. It doesn't, and look here, you don't have to vote to know government. You don't have to vote to know what every fifth grader knows, if they still teaching it, which I doubt. But break down republic and break down what a true democracy is. There you go. If you don't know what those two words are, don't get behind people who rally either one of them unless you understand. When you hear people say our democracy, our democracy, our democracy, when you hear that, they're a threat to our democracy. Really? Yeah, that means they're a threat to what we want to impose upon y'all. They are a threat to what it is that we want to impose upon y'all. Not we the people, but them the government. Who is they got everything flipped. Look up what a democracy is, truthfully, and then look up what a republic is. Then you'll understand why we can have one, or we got one, if we can keep it. Whoever made that statement, you guys put the quote inside, put the person's name, and I forgot which cat it was. Was it Jefferson? I forgot. Benjamin? I don't know. Franklin? I don't know. Y'all put that in there. You have a republic if you can keep it. If you can keep it, yeah, you got a republic. But we don't have a quote unquote democracy as a whole. Even though I don't even I don't do pledges to anything but Yah. Look at the Pledge of Allegiance, and to the republic for which it stands. See, I'm giving you this in pieces because I want you not to believe me. I want you to go and look it up yourself. I want you to look up what a democracy is. I want you to look up what the republic is. And then I want you to juxtapose the two side by side and figure out, I don't think I like that. I don't think I like that. Where the government gets to, no. But, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Break it all down. Break everything down. Take that, even though you may be like me and don't do any allegiances to anything other than Yah. Look at that Pledge of Allegiance that all of us had to say until we came into the knowledge that we have right now today. So don't nobody play funny. We all had to do it when we were coming up. Some of us still do it. So look at the words. Not only do you look at the words, read the words, and then define what is a democracy and define what is a republic, and understand that these individuals that are put in place, like this woman, not Mrs. Justice, but like this woman, okay? This is what she's trying to do, trying to drill those phrases in and trying to share the differences between a dog and a cat. A dog got the same rights a cat got. A cat got the same rights a dog got, trying to make the divisiveness so that somebody, when they start throwing all of that stuff, they want to make sure that somebody gets hit so that they feel like they've been offended. All right, let's go. Sorry, you guys. Hey, it's what it is.
And tell other parents what they can and cannot.
First of all, I think what you're talking about here is a wonderful step in the right direction. We should be having conversations about this. This is about local control. A lot of these decisions are made at the local school board level. And that's where these decisions should be made. And there should be vibrant conversations about what's happening in our public schools and what kids have access to. Joy, however, maybe we could just put all the books with all the graphic sexual content, the dildos, the rape, the incest.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. Let's do a back room. Let's put a curtain up in the library
First
like
of all,
they used
hold
to
on
do.
one moment.
Do you see this? No. What you talking about? We need to put them all in one place. What you saying? We need to put them all in one place. We can't have them all just sitting up there. No, girlfriend. You ain't gonna do that. No, girlfriend. You ain't gonna do that. You ain't about to sit up here and say where people can put the books and they can't put the books. If these kids want to read the books that's dealing with those things, and you just heard what that book is dealing with, then we ain't gonna put it behind no curtain. And Miss Justice pushes the point, and she says, "Wait a minute, we can just put them behind a curtain, like they used to at the old school video stores. We can just put it behind a curtain, put it over in the corner of the curtain, and then just label it, and just you know at least what you're going into." No, girlfriend. Let's go.
Video stores. Remember when we were little and you would go to the video store?
The books that Moms for
and they
Liberty.
put those
the books that Moms for
videos
Liberty.
with pornography
I know that you. I've
We
seen.
could just do that in
I
the
have
public
seen
library.
tapes of
Does
what
that
Moms for
sound
Liberty does,
appropriate?
and you all go into school board meetings
Joy,
and you
this is
read
a
graphic stuff.
disingenuous conversation.
No, it's not.
There's America used to understand that there's something
Beloved,
called age-appropriate content.
Right. And here's my
We have
question again.
ratings on movies.
Again. Ruby Bridges Goes to School is on the list of books that Moms for Liberty has attempted to have removed.
Absolutely not.
It absolutely is. Let me ask about
She just said it's absolutely not on the list. It is not a book that they have gone in. It certainly is. It certainly is. Because my stupids put it on this piece of paper, and because my stupids put it on a piece of paper, and I was uber stupid and didn't go and do my research, I'm going to say it most assuredly is. It absolutely is. Let's move on now. I done made my zinger. Ha, zinger.
the people who are making the decision for their parents, because you have not answered yet why a liberal parent or an African-American parent
We
can't
have
say,
parents who are Democrats who are members
One
of
moment.
our organization.
But you're still trying to make decisions for all the kids. Here are some of the parents that are filing, or some of the your advocates.
Mhm.
Bridget Ziegler, the Moms for Liberty co-founder, the wife of the recently ousted Florida Republican Party chairman, Christian Ziegler, who allegedly was involved in threesomes, same-sex threesomes. Mrs. Ziegler was removed from the school board at which she was a leader. You've had
She wasn't
Lauren,
removed
one
from the
moment.
school board.
Okay, you have Lauren DePaula.
Okay, now on this, I'm sorry to say it. It doesn't mean that the people can't be a member of something, but I'm so sorry. If this is what you've been getting in trouble for, you darn sure ain't gonna have a position of leadership in any organization that I got running. If this person is just a member, that's one thing. Okay, if these individuals are just members, that's one thing. But baby, you're not going to be a part of the hierarchy of any organization that I got going on if you and your husband just got caught doing that kind of stuff. Because if that's the case, you do need to be moving on someplace else. Plain and simple. Why? Because you're not going to tear up my organization. What I've worked to go on ahead and promote, you're not about to have that kind of lifestyle. You're not about to have that kind of lifestyle and then be a person of position. So let me take it back a couple of seconds, because while Joy is speaking, now look, y'all, right is right and wrong is wrong. And I'm not gonna sit up here and beat no drum, right? If she wrong. So let me go back a couple of seconds and see who these people are to her organization. Let me go about here. Let's listen together.
Filing, or some of your advocates.
Mhm.
Bridget Ziegler, the Moms for Liberty co-founder, the wife of the recently ousted Florida Republican Party chairman, Christian Ziegler, who allegedly was involved in...
Sorry, you can't be no co-founder with me, baby. We're going to have to bring somebody else in here that can get the job done. I do not need what you and your old man been doing. It says the Florida GOP chair, Christian Ziegler, husband of Moms for Liberty co-founder, accused of the words you see on the screen by alleged menage. Okay? Now, it's alleged. Now it's accused, certainly. And because I don't know what you've been doing, and because I don't know what your husband been doing, I don't know what he has and hasn't been doing, I don't know what you have and you haven't been doing, I tell you what, you go head on and step down. Y'all go get yourselves together now that this is something that I understand is happening. Now that I got all that, you need to go sit down and get yourself together. That's just right. Right is right and wrong is wrong. You're not about to sit here and say, oh, we stand for children and this is what you're doing and this is what your old man is doing. No, sis, I recommend you have several seats. Yeah, she got her on this one.
Threesomes, same-sex threesomes. Mrs. Ziegler was removed from the school board at which she was a leader. You've had
She wasn't
Lauren,
removed
one
from the
moment.
school board.
Okay, you have Lauren DePaula. She was making book ban requests in Alachua County, but then records show that she and her husband didn't live there. They'd sold their home in that county. Carrie Blair in Tennessee.
Okay, this person lived there and didn't live there. I mean, you got potato, because even if you move out of the area, but you still own the home that you used to live in. Say, for example, you and your spouse lived in the house, you guys put it up for sale. You lived in there for 30 years, 20 years or whatever. And then you moved to a different county and yet you still own that property. Your name still comes up. Maybe you left after you started to do this, maybe you started something saying, I don't want these books, don't want that. And in the interim, you're moving. Okay, that's a little iffy. The other stuff, I'm sorry, she got her dead to right.
who was arrested for property theft charges after allegedly stealing from Target, skip scanning in Target. Why should those three people?
And again, the same thing. If this person is in a position of authority or in a position of the hierarchy of the company, then if you sit up there committing theft, or if you are accused of it, if you're accused of it, I understand you may have or may not have done it. What I need you to do is go get yourself together. And once you go get yourself together, then you be straight. Go get yourself together. And once you go get yourself together, you can come on back. We can talk about it then. We can't talk about nothing right now because you got some homework that you need to do to get your family and your life together. You need to go get your life. Okay. You and your husband, y'all need to go get your life. And you run around here, skip scanning stuff. You need to go get your life. Get yourself together, and then maybe on after that, you know, you can come on back and write a letter, and we'll put it in the we'll put it on the front of our website that says, hey, you know what, I did X, Y, and Z. This is what I've done to remedy it, and this is what, you know, I've paid restitution or whatever. And you can come on back and hang out, but you ain't gonna be in a leadership position. And for that, I have to agree. Let's go.
Get to make decisions about what other children should be able to read. Other parents' children should be able to read.
Do you know that I served as a school board member from 2016 to 2020?
Are you going to answer my question?
Yeah, I'm
because
going
we don't
to.
have an endless time.
Joy, I'm going to answer your question, but I need you to understand that when I was an elected representative, I would sit on that dais. And how dare I, sitting there as an elected representative, judge a parent when they would come to the podium to speak and advocate for their child? Because as we started this conversation, we'll end it. Every parent has a fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children.
Let's make
and
sure
I would
that
not
we can
stand
end
in judgment,
let us end on a point of agreement.
about a parent's education level, their sexual orientation, their race, their religion. That is not what America is about.
I'm going to answer. I'm going to ask my question.
Now, here's the deal. I'm gonna hold on to this little piece right here. She sounds just like what Joyce just got through saying. Do you see how they went full circle? If you listen to that, if you listen to what she just said was exactly what Joy was saying. And as far as doesn't matter if you're this, it doesn't matter if you're that, it doesn't matter, blah, 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 blah. She's holding fast to what she had said in the very beginning. That's what she's doing. And then she's also saying what Joy said. Do you see that? And it's very delicate. That's how we end up drifting over to other sides, I honestly believe. I hope you guys are following what I'm saying. Okay, let's go.
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Justice, Mrs. Justice.
Thank you.
If a parent believes that their child should be able to read Ruby Bridges,
we believe that that children should be able to read.
then how can Moms for Liberty insist that the school board take that book away and then say that a parent who wants the child to be able to read it must purchase it? That's essentially putting a tax on parents who want their children to read the book. Your kids get to have books for free that you agree with, but children who want to read, or parents who want their children to read books you don't like, have to purchase it. That doesn't sound fair.
Did you know that in the city that we're sitting in, only a quarter of children are reading on grade level?
That's a great point. That's a great point.
And so while we're having this conversation about books in libraries,
that's a great point.
Be happening.
That's a great point.
We should be about literacy rates, about what books should be in libraries.
Absolutely. And let me add one more point here. In Florida, the law states that if a Moms for Liberty or other advocate demands that a book be removed, as in each I've literally spoken with people in these organizations. I'm going to finish my thought.
Go ahead.
Were they not having to go
Sometimes
through, and they actually have to read the full book?
Want to finish her full thought, because when she's done, she's full, all right, all the way up to her kneecap with her own foot.
To make a decision as to whether to make a recommendation for the book to be banned. Were they not doing that, what they would be doing is literacy education.
No,
what they would be doing is literacy education. That is what they're not doing because they're spending time on your book ban request.
And she continues, after this woman has corrected her, she continues to call it a book ban. Have you noticed that? She continues to call it a book ban. Listen, you guys, we're about to go on ahead and finish this up. Do me a big, gigantic favor. Please hit the like button. Share this if you have the capacity to share it. Even if you have to share it through your cell phone, if you know somebody else who might be interested in our channel, we're building both of them up. And I need you to do that. You've been here with us, and I appreciate you for everything that you do. I do want to say before we leave, I do not want to be remiss. We've only got a few more minutes left in the show. I don't want to be remiss. I want to thank each and every one of my mods and each and every one of my members. The members who, I don't care whether you sign up for the $2 membership or you signed up for a $10 membership. I want to thank you guys because you guys are really helping the channel by helping us meet some of the needs that we have. We need a new camera. Some of the monies that you guys have given are going to be going to the new camera. So I had to stop and tell you, let me give you your roses right now, baby, and let you know I appreciate you guys. Let's get it to the end of this because it's going to be at the end that I have another piece that I have to add to it to give you the true statistics to an argument that they're about to have. I'm going to give you guys a full screen.
Ridiculous,
but it's
argument. But it's not, Joy, because school districts do lots of things very, very well
with
at the
very
same
little,
time.
with very little funding.
And you actually make a great point because there was no vetting process for a lot of these materials in the
what
library.
is the expertise of Moms for Liberty to do the vetting?
Oh my gosh,
normally what a school board experts and have
That's
people
what I
who
believe.
are library
Parents.
science,
Parents are
and
the
those
best
are the people
experts
who
for
make
their kids.
decisions. One more thing, in Florida versus New York. New York spends about $26,000 per student.
40,000.
26,000.
40,000.
And
Joy.
in Florida, it's about $10,000. So we're talking about much less money. The requirement to, and some of these schools, they don't even have a school librarian because the school actually doesn't have enough money.
Okay, here we go. She said 40,000. I think we're done. We see exactly what's going on here. We only have a few more minutes left. There's not any more major zingers that are about to happen, but there is one that I want to bring up. And the reason why I want to bring it up is because I believe information is really important. Let me give you the statistics because they had the argument about New York and the amount of money. Did you hear that? Or should I play it again? No, you guys heard it. The question and the argument was, is 26,000. And the woman from Moms of Liberty kept giving her the total amount. Did you guys hear that? One in the chat if you remember that part. Okay, so let me give it to you. Okay, I'm going to give it to you full screen so that we can all read it together. It was a quote of $40,000. There was a discrepancy between $26,000 and $40,000 for the state of New York. All right, that's what the question was. Joy said, you know what, the school compared to Florida and New York does, 26,000 and Miss just what's her name? The lady from Moms of Liberty. She says, no, it's 40,000. No, it's 26,000. Well, here it is. Just to be fair, as New York is expected to spend $38,000 per student, Budget Watchdog calls for prioritizing critical services. Now, this is dated April the 10th, 2023. It comes from Chalkbeat, New York. All right. Chalkbeat, New York is the group that's responsible for this. So let's go ahead and read what it has to say. It says, buoyed in recent years by billions in federal stimulus dollars, New York City is slated to spend about $38,000 per student. Now, any of us know that if you round up from a 5, you go up to the next one. What is that? That's going to be 40,000, right? But roughly, it is definitely 38, but it's not 26,000 a year. It says they're slated to spend about $38,000 per student next school year. In the most recent history, as enrollment is again expected to drop according to a new report published on Tuesday. That, of course, again is April 10th of 2023's date that they're referring to. It goes on to say, the report from Citizens Budget Commission, or CBC, a budget watchdog group, comes as the Education Department faces a 3% in cuts for next year. Mayor Eric Adams and the City Council are in the middle of budget planning for the next fiscal year, which begins July 1st. Many of the CBC's findings focus on the period from fiscal year 2016 through 2022, since the current fiscal year 2023 isn't over yet. Some of the report's highlights include, quote, here's the first one. In that time period, the education department's spending per pupil has increased by 47%, in large part due to the $7 billion in federal COVID funds. The aid and the district received as the enrollment has dipped 3 school years from now. In fiscal year 2026, CBC projects the city could be spending as much as $44,000 per student. But the argument here between Mrs. Justice, and between Joy was the fact that it was going to be 26,000, and Joy doubled down. Now, the reason why I believe Joy doubled down was because Joy does not do her own pulling of her documents. And if she does not pull her own documents, I believe that she has not taught the individual. Thank you for being a sponsor of the show, Useless Knowledge. You are officially a sponsor of today's show, and I want to take this time to thank you so very much and let you know how much you are appreciated for being the sponsor of today's show. So basically, she's telling her, no, it's 26,000. And she's saying, no, it's 40. This is important because it goes to my point that homegirl don't know what she's talking about. So let's go ahead down here and I'm going to start and see if we can catch it.
With very little funding.
And you actually make a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here
Just people who are library science,
parents,
and those are the people who make decisions. One more thing, in Florida,
here we go,
versus New York. New York spends about $26,000 per student.
40,000.
26,000.
40,000.
And in Florida, it's about $10,000. So we're talking about much less.
You see how she doubled down?
In some of these schools, they don't even have a school.
The woman just gave her the answer. She just gave her the answer. And instead of her saying, you know what, well, I may stand corrected. Let me have somebody pull that for me right quick. Or, oh, okay, well, I hear your number and maybe my number is a little off, but here's where I stand with that. She didn't do that. She doesn't do that. There's no accountability. There's absolutely no accountability. What you get instead is the big bug eye, believe me, look, believe me. Have you ever had a 3-year-old, you asked them if they ate the cookies? No. Okay, so this is basically the same exact thing. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and get ready to go. But what I want to let you all know is, again, Useless Knowledge is today's for the show actually is our sponsor. And Starfire Reborn says, ugh, oh, Fifi bought a receipt. But I'm just, and I could have broken everything down a little bit more, but why do it? I think that she condemns herself. She really does. And so it was not a good interview. I hope that going forward, it's my highest hope for her and anybody else that you at least do some research. I know it's hard to do, especially if you got a busy schedule and you're trying to run over here and do this and run. I get it. But if you don't go over your notes or limit the amount of notes so that you can go over them for yourself, shame on you for hiring anybody else to do it. I mean, I was letting my grandson help me with some of my thumbnails and some of my titles on some of my stuff, and some of the things would be misspelled, and if people in the chat were like, it's not spelled with that, it's spelled with this. And I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. But the point is, when they gave the correction, I wasn't getting upset. I wasn't windmilling in the chat, going off on them, telling them off and all this other stuff. No, I didn't do that. It's because of the fact that I know that I have to be accountable to somebody. Joy has no one to be accountable for. And the sad part about it is if she doesn't learn how to do her research and if she does not know how to at least listen to the guest and have an intelligent conversation, I venture to say MSNBC won't be playing that game for too long. Why? Because the American people on both sides, whether it is a Democrat or whether it is a Republican, they are tired of people talking down to them, and they are tired of getting poor information, and they're tired of watching a sparring show in comparison to watching or in the place of journalism, which this should have been considered a nice talk show. You come on, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what it is that you do. And then when you get the corrections and the person say, we are not banning books, and you hold stead to God's unchanging hand, you hold it on for the last time. That shows that you are not even listening. The only thing I can say about her listening skills is that she was listening to respond and not listening to change and not listening to have a very solid conversation. Listen, what this woman does is good for all children because it brings back the old reminiscent mindset of people who are simply having their children at heart. They're putting their children first in that they want to make sure that they're not just watching anything. You remember back in the day when we only had one television and mom and dad were in the room with you because they were very expensive back then. Well, as time progressed, what they did is made them a little bit less expensive. And now you got one in every room. And parents don't want to be parents anymore. So they're not about to sit there with the child and watch TV. It all started to break down when you were able to bring a TV dinner in front of the television. That's where the beginning of the breakdown was. It could have been before then, but for my age group, that's what I remember, right? I remember seeing the stories of how they used to bring in the TV dinner. They had the TV tray. That sort of broke all of that down, where the parents were no longer really getting close to the kids because you got a TV in every room. But at least in this case, they're saying we don't want these books readily available to children that can hardly read as it is. We want them to be safe. We want them to be protected. But this tells us about a greater agenda. There is a greater agenda that's at risk if this woman and organizations like hers are able to be successful. Yeah, there is. All right, folks, I appreciate you again. Useless Knowledge, thank you so much. If anybody else would like to give today, we do not mind receiving any donations that you would send to Cash App, and that is the $ Lockhart Perspective. Again, $ Lockhart Perspective allows you to donate to the channel and to help the channel stay successful. Conversely, you could do just like Useless Knowledge did and use the $ down below there at the bottom of your screen. Daryl Calhoun, YouTube stole my D again. What is that? I don't know what that is. How dare they take something from you? Stop it, give it back. All right, folks, we're already an hour and 6 minutes in. I want to tell you guys that later on today, we are looking at, what is the next thing we got that we're talking about? The next thing that we have that we're going to have to hold on that one because I've invited Judge Joe Brown to come on for us to have a conversation about some of the illegalities that we're seeing about people inside of organizations and public office that are doing some pretty unique things. One city specifically. But what we are going to talk about later on today is we're going to talk about what's going on with Fulton County. Why are all the Black women that's making so much money in Fulton County in the position of leadership tripping right now? What's up with y'all? What's really going on? We got all kinds of stuff. And it's not Fonnie. I'm not even talking about Fonnie Willis. I got a couple of other individuals that are in Fulton County. We're going to be looking at them. We're going to be looking at them. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we do. We're going to be looking at them later on today. Got some questions and unbelievable stories that you guys are not going to believe. You know, and I attribute it a lot of times to the women that say, I don't need no man. I got my own money. Well, sister girl, and got up there and found out when you climb up the ladder that high, if you didn't get you a man going up, you'll do anything that you can to coerce a man to be with you. And then after that, you'll go after him. One chick just got sued out there. She got the whole county of Fulton County sued. We're going to talk about that. And that'll be on the Lockhart Perspective because generally we do all of our perspectives and all of our commentary over there. And you guys look out for the community tab because there's some big changes. And I know I've said this before in the past, but this one is a real big changer. Okay, so we're going to be looking at that. Make sure you guys keep your eyes to the community tab on Headlines with a Voice. I appreciate each and every one of you. And remember what we always say here, to make sure that you take care of yourself, because as you can see, if you don't take care of you, ain't nobody else going to do it. And I want you to make sure that the next time that I see you, you've taken really good care of my friend, because my friend is you. Until we see each other again, take care. Peace. I've always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping